Now, that being said, hello everybody. So, oh no, VC face, no crashy. I've been hard at work getting us set up with a bunch of new games, and if you're a member of the Discord, you can take a look at that list. And also you might see that we're also putting up a stretch goal now of doing a new Vroid outfit, because it always does take me a while, and the 3 that I've got in place are fun, but a new alt outfit would be nice. There's a lazy one I'm going to be putting in place as well. It's just going to be more casual because I need kind of like a chill workout one. But I do love the models that we have in place, and it's always fun like making that kind of art for you folks. Let's see, get that out of the way, and nope, that's not the right one. Bam. Okay, so looking at the Discord here. Let's see what our votes were for tonight, because I know that I, as usual, put an overwhelming number of votes in place. But we do have a winner here. Number 9. Let me see which one that is. Okay. Off-World Trading Company, an RTS, I think. I think it's an RTS. I'm not entirely sure. So, yeah, let's take a look at this one. Gonna have to put this all together real quick inside of OBS, so bear with me. Okay, this up over here. Oh wait, what? Interesting. From the same people that did Galactic Civilization, The Sins of a Solar Empire, Ashes of the Singularity, Star Control. I didn't know about all of these ones being from the same company. Interesting. Okay. Oh, I don't like that. Oh, we got loud.
Earth may be dying.
Oh, missing the
Some
intro.
are looking off-world for a fresh start.
Okay, you have my attention.
Out here is brutal.
New source. Game.
In this winner-take-all environment, people are doing anything to succeed. You need to stake your claim, earn your place, and do your best to save humankind's future.
Okay. Where'd that go? Trying to get this organized as well. I gotta say, I'm digging the music. I gotta turn off this cross music here. There we go. That's cute. Alright. No, this is very new to me. Let's go ahead and throw this into windowed, hopefully. Right. And I think I've been finding 1600 by 900. Yeah. Seems to work pretty well with chat. Way too dang. Okay. We're gonna try this live fire because I am decent with RTSs, but bear with me, I do not know this game. You try to win a skirmish game before trying the campaign. Unlike most RTSs, the campaign does not teach the base game. Oh! Okay, maybe we do need to actually take a look at this. Oh no. Sure, let's see what happens. You think you have what it takes to make it on your own? Every successful CTO starts their climb somewhere. The first rung of your ladder begins with a job application to Yoshimi Robotics. Found a Yoshimi Robotic HQ and buy out your opponent. Pro tips, robots don't need life support, so you don't need to worry about them consuming food, water, or oxygen. This is gonna be awful and you know it. Okay, they use electric-powered transport ships, which use energy instead of fuel. They also receive production bonus. Oh, geez. There's more to this game than I thought. I was not ready. Oh, I was so not ready. New Moscow. Oh, no. I might have to make an executive decision to not do this one live on stream without knowing anything about it. Upgrade the HQ uses electronics instead of glass. Also required. What? Huh? 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 Yeah. Yeah, we exist here now. On this place. Is this building? Maisie Song. Click this so you can choose to claim a tile on the map. You can only build on tiles that you have claimed. This tile is already claimed. You can construct a building here? You should do that soon. Empty tile. Okay, so... Is it behaving strangely? Oh, it is. Thank you. There you go. Although I'm not exactly certain what we're missing here on the bottom right. What is this? Purchase Cook the Books is such a crass way to say optimistic rewards-based reconsideration of your current market valuation. Purchase Adrenaline Boost. Purchase Core Sample. It's illegal, but in no way unethical. Oh. Water. That ground is on fire. Okay, so there's resources all over the place. Oh. Electrolysis reactor consumes power and water, produces oxygen and fuel. Where? Yeah, metal mine. There we go. What's the difference between these two? Sure. Huh. Yep, I'm gonna call time of death on this. Save game. We're trying this later. I'm looking at him like, I could sit here for 2 hours and learn an entirely new OS, or I could just jump into something else and I have a remote idea what the hell's going on. Great session. Yeah. Great session, everybody. Let's see who we're gonna raid. Okay. Let's go take a second look at our votes. 140. Oblatus. These I both at least have an idea. Convoy. Which, knowing how many people like FTL, they might have an interest in Convoy. Ring Runner, which has been on the votes for a minute, and Windforge. Let's see here. Knowing that, let's start out with a session of Convoy, knowing that it is liable to die quickly. And then we go over here and we panic about not having this set up in advance. Convoy. Got that one in time, at least. Let's see. Get all this moved down, and then turn this down. Holy cow. Alright, so yeah, this one is essentially FTL if we were to have crashed. Run this in windowed mode. Oh, we can stretch the window. That's nauseating. grab this real quick. And fix this as well. Okay. Cool. Select all that. Go back. Hey. Why you do that? Okay. New game. This one I've played a little bit, but I'm not good at. We'll say that. We're going to start off with the base vehicles because I legitimately do not remember the main gameplay loop on this all that well. There are so many more things to unlock in this game. And essentially, we've got our main vehicle, the Armadillo. I don't think we can even change it. Yeah. Which is the medium logistics vehicle. It is essentially our mothership while we're on the ground rolling around. And then the other two vehicles that are going to be on the outside edges are our scouts / defense units. Let's take a look here. Light pulse laser, nothing. Heavy machine gun. EMP blaster, nothing. Light machine gun. Cannon. A chainsaw. Wow. Light machine gun and a shield. Okay. Yep, we'll start with these. Oh, there are other MCVs that we can get. I did not know that. Okay. So this is essentially the we're waiting to warp screen equivalent for FTL. So here it's the EMP blaster for the MCV. And this is how we're going to be controlling our different vehicles around us while we're cruising around. So let's open the main map. Welcome to Convoy. After enduring an ion storm, your spaceship was forced to make an emergency landing on the planet Omec Prime due to critical damage due to its primary systems. The captain has ordered you to traverse the planet in search of replacement parts. Opening these will allow the spaceship to continue its mission. Continue. The captain wants you to collect the following parts and bring them to the spaceship. Flux capacitor, the hyperdrive stabilizers, multicellulose-infused ethanol, and self-sealing stem bolts. Omec Prime is a world filled with danger. 3 factions fight for control of the planet. They are the Privateers, the Raiders, and Torvac. Managing to survive in this harsh world where most arguments are settled with violence is key to your success. Any questions? Questions about my objectives? Flux capacitor. The flux capacitor consists of a rectangle-shaped compartment with 3 flashing geyser tubes. It requires 1.21 gigawatts of electrical power to operate. Omec Prime is a local professor who should have access to the flux capacitor. Finding him might allow you to acquire this item. Alright. So, we got jokes, folks. Let's go. There's our starship. Here's our little convoy. And points of interest. The nearest camp. Nearest camp is down there, it says. Okay, so it's got descriptions for each of these in-game. Sasiak Tea House. Underground Laboratory. Eiffels Incorporated has the monopoly on self-sealing stem bolts. You could try striking a deal with them, but unless you have an exceptional number of parts, buying them seems out of the question. That sounds like we have to fight them. Okay. Nearest camp is south. So, let's head south. Anybody play the original Fallout? Because this game uses a very similar map system to it. Or even RimWorld. We have now entered enemy territory, and there's a point of interest. Is there a way for me to zoom out in this? No? Okay. You spot a large number of privateer vehicles engaged in combat. There seem to be 2 separate groups fighting each other. Wait for them to finish each other off. As you wait for them to finish each other off, they've evidently come to some sort of agreement to attack you first. Both factions are moving in to engage your convoy. Alright, prepare to fight. Here we go. Let's get back and range the mothership. Oh, wow.
Yes, Captain? Moving out.
Yes, Captain. Roger.
Hey! Definitely.
Let me help. Roger. Definitely.
What can I do?
Let's see.
What can I do? Definitely. Let me help.
Yes, Captain? Rolling.
Okay. Gotta wait for that EMP to go. Yikes.
Yes. Definitely.
What can I do?
Yes.
Knock out their... Yep.
What
Good.
can I do?
Knock out their shields.
Hey!
Yes. Hey. Definitely. Roger.
Yes, Captain?
Yikes. Oh, there's mines now too?
Hey. Roger.
Yeah, I'm not gonna make it. This is really cool. I'm also doing very badly.
Exterminate.
Yes?
Hey.
Yeah? Definitely. Roger. Roger.
What can I do?
Shield down.
Yes?
Hi.
Come on. So, focused fire is important, apparently.
Yes, Captain?
Oh no.
Let me help.
What can I do? Definitely.
Armor gone.
Roger.
What does this mean?
Hi. Yes, Captain.
Yeah?
I keep noticing these too slow.
Let me help. Roger. Exterminate.
Let me out.
Well, lost a vehicle. This is going very badly.
Rolling.
But it does give me a better idea of how to run this. Let's save and exit and start a new session. Okay. Also curious about heavy machine gun and a pulse laser. Let's try that instead. Ah. As you drive down the road, you see a car off to the side with a white flag hanging out the window. Investigate. You get closer and you see the car is riddled with bullets and scorch marks. Whoever did this doesn't seem to be nearby now. You managed to scrap the vehicle for 45 scrap. Hell yeah. Ooh. A point of interest. The radio signal originated from a lone man carrying a radio beacon. Fella, my name's Guy. I need some help. What do you need? My cousin lives in the town of Colonia, and a plague has reared its ugly head. The courier carrying the cure won't respond. Will you help? These plague people need their cure. I'd be glad to help. No, it won't. They need their cure. Purging the plague. A man named Guy. You should track down the courier carrying the plague cure. Okay. As you near the signal, you see it's being broadcasted by what appears to be a decrepit bar. It's got a gray bricked exterior and shows parts of a damaged neon sign. The only remaining letters are J. Reese. There doesn't seem to be anyone nearby. Check it out. Heading inside, you hear the faint sound of music. You discover most of the bar has been trashed and looted, but in the middle of the room is a lone remaining jukebox. Change the song. You insert your cash and hit the random button. Let's hear it. This one begins with a slow tempo with acoustic instruments before introducing electronic instruments. The final selection is an up-tempo hard rock arrangement. It's about a woman seeking to procure a very lengthy stairway. Makes you wonder. You insert your cash and hit the random button. The song's about a person flying to meet a lonely missionary in a faraway continent. I bless the rains. It initially sounds rather romantic, but in fact is about unrequited love. Everybody needs some time. I'm curious if there's something if I keep doing this. That's how the wind blows. Lengthy stairway. Hey teacher, leave those kids alone. Ooh, it makes you wonder. Hey. Alright, living it up at the Hotel California. Upon disassembling the jukebox, you find 47 scrap. Upon heading outside, you spot a band of raiders approaching. They're probably not too pleased about their destroyed jukebox. Alright. Retreat. You successfully managed to escape. What a silly little side quest. You see a dust cloud in the distance. Shortly afterwards, you hear shots fired. You're under attack. Prepare for battle.
Awaiting orders.
Ooh, we got a person with a laser cannon.
Roger.
Let's see.
Ready and waiting.
We got a focus fire. That is something I need to remember.
Vehicle reporting. Roger that. Reporting. Ready and waiting.
Oh wow, this one's got a way better range than I expected.
Awaiting orders. Ready. Moving out. Reporting. Vehicle reporting. Roger that. Vehicle reporting.
Ah! Cold water. Come on! I'm so bad at these. Alright, knock that one out. So they stop hitting us with missiles at least. See, if we're creative about using the EMP stun, we can actually force the enemy to run into rocks and stuff.
Reporting. Not a problem. Ready and waiting. Moving. Orders. Not a problem. Orders. Reporting. Vehicle reporting. Reporting. Guns ready.
Yep, focus fire, very important.
Awaiting orders. Standing by. Reporting.
Nice. That stun is very handy. Okay, that's our first successful fight. You find some loot in the wreck, including an extra light machine gun. Nice. How do I... How do I camp? Do I have to be on the road to camp? Replenish your convoy down there. Okay. A bit further along the highway, your scanners pick up a civilian vehicle. The radio signal seems to be operating from it. Stop and inquire. The civilians appear to be a family in search of a better life. Sadly, they've run out of fuel and are stranded on the highway. They ask if you can spare 5 fuel. Happy to help. They regret to inform you they don't have anything of value to give except their thanks. Gratitude is its own reward. Otherwise, the option was to kill them, and I'm not really into that. We're gonna have to drive up and over these hills. You come across a lone man wearing what appears to be a sandwich sign. Approach him. He seems to be wearing the sign of the Lucky Peacock, a mysterious traveling casino. Since the Lucky Peacock travels all the time, it can be difficult to locate. This man, however, offers the latest coordinates freely to anyone interested. Well, let's add those. Thank you. You see a sign in the distance. It says free trading ahead. Alright. You see a new sign. It says, haha, we lied. Prepare to die. Try to flee. You manage to outrun the would-be attackers, but they manage to get a shot in on one of your vehicles. Ow. Ah, the camp. Repair car. Cost 5 bolts. Oh. So, hey, can I? Oh. Wait. No. I didn't know I could do upgrades this way. That's cool. Okay. So each vehicle has a certain number of slots. That's a heavy machine gun, that's a light machine gun. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Percentage damage reduction. Range. Ooh. Oh. Adds base evasion. I mean, yeah, let's stick upgrades on all of these. Okay. And also repair this again. Now that's neat. Oh, wait. There's a shop here? Oh, hey! Shield Mark III. AID, Advanced Impact Device. Originally designed as a parking aid, it prevents ramming damage through localized energy fields. That's fun. You can also buy more fuel here. Okay. Okay. That's neat. Your scanner shows several blips, but there are just some tumbleweeds rolling by. Found a city? Huh. Don't know what's up with that. I'm gonna have to get fuel at some point, though. A band of privateers is hot on your tail. Radio them. You've been tracked by the Rising Ashes. Stop your vehicles and surrender. You have 10 seconds to comply. What did we do? 9. Why should we? Explain yourselves. Who are you? What's going on? You're in direct violation of LND code 1.13. LND? You mean Landinar? 4. There's no bounty. We're on the same side. Huh. Oh, damn. They just start out by hitting us.
Reporting. Target acquired. 14. Heading east. Reporting.
All of these have super long range too. Interesting.
Reporting. Reporting. Unit reporting. Unit reporting. Roger that. Standing by. Ready. Vehicle reporting. Awaiting orders. Unit reporting. Captain. Going east. Captain. Target. Rolling. Affirmative. Target. Captain. Rolling. Awaiting orders.
Oh no. I forgot that would do damage.
Roger that. Unit reporting. Roger. Ready and waiting. Rolling. Unit reporting.
Hell yeah. Get wrecked. A single privateer vehicle approaches your convoy. It's trying to open communications. It does not appear to have any weapons whatsoever. The vehicle identifies itself as Thriftwood, mighty privateer. He claims that rhyming insult fighting is a big thing in these parts and challenges you to a fight. Challenge accepted, Mr. Thriftwood. The privateer explains, throughout the Tarkin Desert, my great deeds are celebrated. Would you like to be buried or cremated? That makes no sense whatsoever, the privateer explains. You are obviously not fit to roam this desert. Goodbye, sir. What a strange man. Let's leave. Huh. Alright. Okay, we're still trying to figure out this plague thing. There are only so many ways to describe sand, and at this point, we've run out. In the distance, he spots some metal glinting in the sunlight. Investigate. It seems to be a hulking figure, wearing what appears to be makeshift plate mail out of spare parts. He's carrying a massive exhaust pipe as a lance, and his steering wheel as a shield. As you approach, he adopts a defensive stance and shouts, "Have at thee, servant to the dragon!" Calm him down. Eventually, you manage to calm him down, though he doesn't seem any less delirious. He explains he is the last remaining knight of the Order of the Wheel on a quest to defeat the legendary dragon. Sounds legit. Having set out many years ago, he's nearing the infamous Dragonlair and will free the world from the terror once and for all. Help him. Fellow champions! I knew I would find like-hearted people eventually. The man has given you the coordinates of the presumed Dragon Cave before being ushered to your medical bay. Hi, Milky Taro Flavor. Thanks for dropping in. Very legit. Let's see where that here be dragons. 233. Okay, so it's up along the same way generally. Found another road. Is there another nearby camp? No. Oh, there is a near one now. What's this? You come across the wreck of the Cure Courier. It looks like he was ambushed. Secure the wreck for the Cure. Several raiders come out of nowhere. They were waiting for a new challenge. Quickly load the cargo and outrun the warriors. You've managed to successfully load the cargo onto your convoy and escape the raiders. Good. Purging Plague is down that way. Nearest camp is down that way. I don't know. Alongside the highway, you spot a Quadranus Speedway. It looks like it hasn't been in maintenance quite some time, but the entry ramp appears functional. Attempting to use the Speedway would allow you to regain 15 fuel, at the risk of suffering damage if the Speedway is too damaged. Sure. You drive your convoy up the ramp, into the Speedway, and prepare to get boosted. Multicolored forward raiders facing triangles surround you moments before you take off, the surrounding landscape turning into a blur. Everything's going well so far, until now. Large quadrants of the Speedway are missing, causing an imbalance in the repulsor field. While you managed to keep your convoy on the Speedway rather than crashing out to the side, you did suffer some damage from crashing into the walls. Eventually, you arrive at the end of the Speedway and carefully return to the normal road. Alright, let's go to the nearest camp. Gotta get some fuel and repairs, apparently. Ballistic computer calculates long-distance targeting vectors, improving a unit's range. Shield Mark 1. Shield Mark 1. Another computer. Alright, we need fuel. I guess let's sell this gun that we can't use. I could put a shield on each of my vehicles. Which maybe this will save us from some damage further down the line. Alright, that's about all the fuel we got. Whoop. Come on, convoy, don't do this to me. Okay. Cancel. Cancel. Return to game. Apparently cancel is the button that's causing this issue. One sec. Okay. Can't get any upgrades right now, but we have learned about how they work. Okay. Purging the Plague. Over that way, 96 kilometers. Here be dragons up there. Time to Gamble also over there. Okay, we're just gonna take the road out of here then. You passed through Torvac checkpoint and have driven through safely. Why would I ambush them? They must have had more pressing matters to attend to than a rogue convoy. Interesting. The signal's coming from a lone rundown garage, strangely situated in the middle of this desert. Business was probably slow. A man calling himself Glenn Matthews and claims to be quite the handyman meets you outside the garage. He asks if he can have a look at your vehicles. Glenn inspects your vehicles closely, testing bits of the chassis and armor, occasionally shaking his head. Eventually, he approaches you and states, "You really ought to take better care of your vehicles. Luckily, I quite enjoy fixing stuff. If you let me, I'll repair your vehicles free of charge." Glenn looks disappointed as you refuse and return to your convoy. Oh well, best of luck regardless. We aren't damaged.
You drive past a scorched crater in this rocky stretch of desert. Inspecting the crater, you find 3 corpses next to what looks to be some sort of broken elevator. The 3 corpses seem out of this world, one of them being an insectoid wearing a red scarf, one of them being an unusually tiny human next to an enormous sword, and finally a human wearing an impractical tweed jacket still clutching a pipe. Amongst the corpses lies a yellow pulsing crystal. Is this... Is this a reference to the game I was just... Is this part of the Endless series? I mean, I guess this would be a reference because this game's full of references. Sorry, 2 of the characters 3 of the characters that were in the game I was just playing. Yeah, that's... Huh. Inspect the crystal. Your engineers start tinkering with the crystal, but after mere moments it disintegrates into dust. The cause is unsure, but the result is worthless. Damn. Aww, the dust is worthless in this universe. You see Colonia in the distance. Find Guy's cousin to distribute the plague cure. The cure distribution begins immediately. You and your crew also get shots just to be safe. People of Colonia are glad you helped them and declare you to be local heroes. Guy's cousin approaches and hands you 200 nice parts. We all pitched in, he says. Thank you. Nearest camp? Still over there. Fuel is hard to find. Three, 2, 1. Out of fuel. Several vehicles approach your convoy but stay out of reach of your weapons. Evidently, they're aware of your fuel troubles, so they're setting up some long-range artillery. You try to start your engines with the last drops of fuel you have remaining to counterattack. Amazingly, you manage to breathe some life into your engines and get ready to engage your foes. Bloody hell! I'm glad we have shields installed.
Heading east. Sir. Ready and waiting. Orders. Target locked on. Sir. Roger.
Damn, that is a lot of lasers. Shield down. Not sure which one of these to knock out first. Now would be a good time for me to have access to that repair garage.
Awaiting orders. Reporting. Affirmative. Target acquired. Ready. Captain. Vehicle reporting. Standing by. Roger that. Vehicle reporting. Locked on. Orders. Moving. Sir, awaiting orders. Orders? Reporting. Acknowledge. Orders? Unit reporting.
I guess getting a shield for the mothership would also be useful and important.
Reporting. Unit report.
Ah. All the attackers have been defeated. You managed to find 26 fuel in addition to 99 scrap. Make a mental note to keep a closer eye on your fuel count. Very handy. Let's get to that camp. So, need a lot more than just 30 fuel. What do we got here? Chainsaw, cannon, AID, Shield Mark III. No? Uh-oh. Oh, it's not yellow, it's whites only. I see. This is the one with range. Wait. This is the machine gun, which seems to be longer range. You want to make the laser long range. Confirm. Okay. I guess we'll buy as much fuel as we can get real quick. And get out of here. Get out of here! Gambling. Dragons. Gambling is closer. Gamba it is. We are in very hostile territory here. What is this? What did we find? Raider vehicles are on the horizon. Your radio picks up following chatter. Alright, have at 'em. Come on, you apes. You want to live forever. Get ready to fight. Wait, we can avoid? We're going to keep avoiding the fights then. According to your data, a Torvac intelligence hub should be somewhere around this area. After a brief investigation, you spot a massive building with obvious signs of Torvac technology. This should be the intelligence hub you're looking for. Numerous Torvac vehicles patrol the area around it, whilst the facility itself has impressive-looking auto turrets. We are Torvac. Inquire after sonic screws. Torvac uses a mobile platform for sonic screw production. The use of sonic screws is essential to our production of vehicles, checkpoints, and other projects. We suggest a rendezvous with the mobile platform if you desire a transaction. Please stand by for coordinates. Handy. Very nice. Back to Gamba. And whatever this is. On to the mountain. A lot of good references in this. The signal originates from a Torvac checkpoint. Open channels. We are Torvac. Reports indicate you've recently arrived on Omek Prime. Please state your business here. Looking for parts. We thank you for cooperation. Goodbye then. Okay. Oh, another radio signal. You spot a non-functioning Torvac vehicle by the side of the road. Investigate the wreck. You find a flyer for the Lucky Peacock, a traveling casino. Okay, latest coordinates have been updated. A flashy display of neon lights and laser shows can be seen in the distance. Upon coming closer, you see the neon sign reads, Selvin Show of Surprises. You see a large podium with 3 doors numbered 1 to 3. A woman wearing a glittery suit and a top hat is stood behind a mic on top of the podium. Next to the podium, you see 2 big turrets sporting impressive-looking weaponry. You suspect they could destroy your entire convoy with a single burst. The woman announces, Ladies and gentlemen, please give a hand to our latest contenders. Due to the lack of an audience, it remains silent. Step right up. The woman continues, Wonderful! Welcome to Selvin Show of Surprises. I'm your host, Marilyn, and you can compete for a mere 100 scrap. Behind one of these 3 doors is a brand spanking new Keeper drone, ready to join you on your adventures. But behind the other 2 doors are goats. What say you? Are you ready to make the deal? No, thank you. We don't have the money. We have 9 scrap. And I gotta hope that this casino is gonna have something, because we are running out of fuel again. What a game. While trekking through the desert, your convoy has uncovered some sort of bag which got hooked to your wheels. Stop to investigate. After halting your convoy, the bag is inspected and turns out to be filled with letters and parcels. Checking the addresses, it seems the mailbag has ended up on Omek Prime by mistake. The addresses refer to different planets altogether. Keep checking. Amongst the letters and parcels, one in particular catches your eye. It is an envelope sealed with wax, which has been imprinted with a circular logo with 2 lines running through the bottom left quadrant. The vertical line is a bit wider than the horizontal line. It was a circular logo with 2 lines. It's Smash. It's the Smash universe. The letter inside is pretty faded from all its time on Omek Prime, but you are able to discern as some sort of invitation to a big festivity. The details of the festivity are unclear. You think it refers to a birthday bash for a family of brothers. This particular invitation was addressed to someone whose name starts with a W and ends with G. Hopefully they still managed to attend the party. Wah! Wah! Yeah? Huh. On one of the letters you find an address which is actually here on Omek Prime. It's a rather fancy looking envelope. On the back you find the letters SWAL. Let's deliver it. You found the mysterious traveling casino, the Lucky Peacock. It is fitted with numerous neon signs that state, Lucky Peacock Casino. Parts, parts, parts. Try your luck at the Lucky Peacock. Could be a winner. Gamba. There's a roulette table where the only bets you can place are 100. Wheel of Fortune. Slot machines. You spin the wheel for 100. Book, book, book. Slot machines all look pretty much the same, aside from the bets you have to place. We don't even have 10. Insert 1. You won your $1 back. Nothing. 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 You won 30. Great. You leave. Maybe someone else will get lucky. I mean, that's enough for 3 fuel. You come across a raider slave convoy. They are heavily armed, but appear more interested and continue their way. I wish that we could do anything about it, but we can't. There's a wreck on the side of the road surrounded by gore, blood, and the corpses of a man and 2 children. Evidently, you're in raider territory. Investigate. You discover several discarded pieces of clothing, presumably bury these people. While it takes some time, the decent thing to do is give these people a place to rest. Eventually, you finish and prepare to head out. The signal is coming from a garage located here in the desert. A broken down neon sign says Caesar's Chop Shop. Investigate. Upon heading inside, you spot a gray-haired man. He's busy disassembling parts left and right while bobbing his head and drumming on whatever he's got his hands to a rhythm only he can hear. Let's talk to him. Caesar looks up at your approach and says, "New face, welcome. What can I do to you? Do for you? Let's talk business. Running a chop shop here. Talking business is easy. I got vehicle. You got vehicles. I got scrap. I scrap armor. It's what I do best. Taking a look at the stuff you got outside? Yeah, I can probably use some of it. We have a deal, yeah? Scrap my armor, huh?" While Caesar's method seems a bit unorthodox, he successfully manages to strip only the armor of your vehicles while leaving their hull completely intact. After some time, he looks satisfied and turns to you. "Nice, I got some uses for that. Pleasure doing business with you. Enjoy those parts." Weird. Hey, camp. No! You broadcasted your emergency signal for some time when you see thick black smoke billowing in the distance. A group of raiders picked up on your signal and are here for some easy prey. You hope you can squeeze some fuel out of your vehicles to fight them off.
Ready.
Oh yeah, we got that Mark III shield.
Orders. Ready. You got it. Reporting. Standing by. Orders.
Oh wow. That's a lot of lasers.
Waiting.
And missiles.
Come on.
Interrupt this one.
Orders. Vehicle reporting.
Shield down. That one was wearing the heavy shield then.
Awaiting orders. Ready and waiting. Unit reporting. Orders. Locked on. Rolling. Vehicle reporting. Heading east. Moving. Roger that. Reporting.
Stun them.
Awaiting orders. Vehicle reporting. Roger that.
Ah. Alright.
Ready.
Wow, I'm super glad we've got those shields in place.
Standing by. Standing by. Unit reporting. Guns ready, sir. Target acquired. Moving out. Vehicle reporting. Roger that. Sir?
Very good. Evidently, you had just enough fuel to fight off the raiders. Got some fuel, got some scrap. Let's go to this camp, repair, and refuel. Light pulse laser. Oh. I wasn't paying attention. I could have bought a whole extra vehicle. That's the first time I've seen one show up. Okay, that also gives me a good idea of like what the general price of a vehicle is. Dragons this way, peacock, don't care, postal this way. Let's see what's over here. Next time. The signal appears to be coming from a privateer camp in the distance. Seems as if there's a lot of activity in the camp. You don't think they've noticed your convoy yet. Ooh. Let's leave. Escape. Maybe we'll get some scrap. I forgot that fights also, like, matter in that sense.
Reporting. Awaiting orders. Standing by.
Rude.
Waiting orders. Guns ready. Standing by.
Okay,
Ready and
next.
Waiting orders. Orders.
Come on. Okay. Armor gone.
Standing by.
So AP is armor points? Not sure if I understand how that works.
Ready. Locked on. Ready. Ready.
Knock out their shield.
Awaiting order.
Oh, get out of the way.
Going east. Captain. You got it. Unit reporting.
Okay.
Not a problem. Reporting. Moving. You got it. Acknowledged. Ready. Ready and waiting. Vehicle reporting. Sir? You got it.
Ooh, I might be about to lose this other
Ready
vehicle.
and waiting. Roger that. Unit reporting. Ready. Orders? Standing by.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Reporting. Ready to fire. Orders? Acknowledged. Target acquired. Locked on. Moving. Standing by. Roger.
No. Oh no. Well, dang, I keep doing that thing. I think I lost. And I don't want to just like sit here and watch this thing get chunked at, because like, we already know I lost. Oh. At least it's... I was doing like vampirism? Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. God, that takes so long. Okay. We'll call that good. That was a good introduction to Convoy and the madness that it is. Decent little starting run. Yeah. I'll have to come back to this one. It's fun though. Also, I never did change the stream info. Thank you for getting it initially over to Off-World Trading Company for me, Dan. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and take a short break here, and we will be right back with something else from the community votes for the night. See you in just a sec. Yeah, so what was the book thing? I didn't actually get that one. Oh. Okay. Yeah. Can you tell I really don't touch the gamba? Let's go ahead and set it up for 140 as the next game. Looking at the community votes there, a platforming challenge sounds kind of fun. And then after that, we'll see what we want to do next. Getting something rolled here. Refill my water, and I actually do need to get up and take a walk on the dark chocolate with orange peel. So good. Okay. Let's go over here. My apologies. You awake now? Don't like what that's doing. Okay, that's better. When it initially showed up, it was real glitchy. Okay. Let's see. Go to stream info real quick. Let's replace that doggo with epilepsy warning. And cool. Yeah, there's just too many flashing colors on this one for me to be like, you're fine. Okay. Hey, game. Whoa. Can we get an options menu? No? No, just that? Okay, hold on. Let's try that again. Ah, there we go. Alt enter is the magic keys that we're looking for. Thanks, OBS. Yes, that's exactly what I want to show you. Okay. Thomas was alone. Which, if you saw, is also one of the things that got added to this list. Oh. Okay. So I might actually want to turn the music back up on this because it's a little quieter than I want it. This game is somewhat dependent on the music. In a way. I'm not sure how much, because it has been years since I beat this one. But, let's see. We'll stick that at about 10%. And see what that does. It's gonna be too big brain? Are you sure? Wait, what? Lag? Really? Right then? Hmm. Ooh. All right. Welcome. Hmm. We are playing 140, a rhythm platformer. Wait. Wait. Traveling through the Equalizerverse. No, I'm just kind of chilling. I'm enjoying the music right now. And eating some chips, which is probably why you're seeing the Avatar's face moving. Oh, this looks dangerous. So it looks like I'll land there just as it's coming down. Dang it. So jammy, but I have no idea what I'm doing. Well, that was cool. We found the dubstep orb. Come back here. Don't like that. Huh? Oh. I get it. I feel like I'm fighting against that one boss in Stick Punch. Or that Stick Fight the game. Huh? Oh wow, you have to start the whole fight over. Okay. Dang it. This is tough. Some of these are really hard to see. Okay. A challenge. Met. Defeated. Onwards we move. To chapter 2. Different set of rules on this world. Kind of same, and I'm not even sure why. Oh. We've gone to a dub. Of course they chose these colors for it. Ooh. No. I keep thinking I have the timing just right, and I don't. Hmm. Dang it. Measuring patience. Oh. We have now hit the rhythm part of this game. And it's gonna punish me. It's gonna punish me. Oh no. Oh, I see. Polyrhythms. Anybody want to learn about polyrhythms today? Polyrhythms are when you have two different rhythms being played on top of each other. That's what this is a lesson in. And paying attention to the overarch of the entire measure, so that you know when you are and where you are in that measure at any given time in this world of Fruity Loops. Found you.
too. One, two, three, on. Okay. Oh, I jumped too early. Didn't get the order that right. Wait. No. There we go. I see. Now we're... Whoa! Okay. I'm into this. Whoa. Okay. So I have to pay attention to which order they come in then. Ooh. My dodge isn't quite that good. Okay. Yeah, I love the fact that everything in this is, like, rhythmically based, and that's why, even though it's still a platformer, I would consider this a music game. If you have a sense of rhythm, it does place you at an advantage over players that don't. Ah.
Ah, I keep backing up every time. Trying. This one's tough. Puppy noises. Dodge. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, move. 5, 6, move. 5, move. 2, 3, 4, 5, move. Okay. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 128. Oh, 140. Aw. Throwing some math out into the chat. Yeah, I don't know. I do not know. But hey, I can at least translate binary on site. That's one of the weird skills I retained from my IT background. Hey Busta! We are playing 140, a musical platformer adventure. I could see that water sanitation facility. Well, onwards to the next set of colors, I suppose. Hey, you, come back here. Whoops. Oh. This one's going to take me a second to get used to the gravity of. There we go. No! Then makes you do it again immediately. I'm having a moment. It really does. Blip, blip. Oh, come on. Tap. 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 I didn't quite have that. Four CRT screens on static. They will win. Wolf Girl as Tiny Dot. So tiny, so small, so orb. Never survived so many screens. So many static. Oh lights? Oh music? Just darkness! Alright. Looks like we made it. Huh. Complete with the sound bars? Oh wow, that is a fast spider. Goodbye, little spider. Dang it. The wolf howling by the handle. Yes. Okay. Ow! Made it. Yeah? You two? Oh, Giga Chat. I thought that was the keeping it wide shit. An upsetting sound. Oh, I see. I'm going a little too early on the timing by like, and we're talking on an order of like 20 milliseconds. This game got real finite real quick about its jumps. Oh, what? Oh, okay. Don't like that. Ah. Dog noises. I believe too. Do you believe? Everybody believe in me. Huh. Bum bum. No! Bum bum. Bum bum. Bum bum. Bum bum. Oh no. Blum blum. Blum blum. Blum blum. I should not have made that extra jump right then. Ah. Oh. Oh, we're falling now. We've been given the power of triangle. Is it Zoop? It's Zoop! I'm playing Zoop! Okay. So now it's moving it on the beat. Ah! Yeah. Okay. So every one beat, it's moving it to the side once. And on the 2 beats, it's moving it every 2. Yep, we have a seizure warning on this. Oh. Yeah, this whole game is a seizure warning, and a lot of the ones that I'm intending on playing in the near future are going to be pretty colorful spectacles, so kind of same deal. I will note though, a lot of the games that I already played tend to be that way, and I need to remember to just kind of generally do that for most of my games. No! Pop. Pop. Yeah. That's totally understandable. That being said, we also have just made it to the 2-hour mark, so once this chapter is over, I think we'll call this one done. And try and finish it again later, because it's a fun little puzzler, but I also get my limits as well. No! And I bet you it's going to be throwing more of these like layers of this puzzle the second that I finish this one. Alright. Ooh, this is pretty. Okay. 2. And 3. Oh. Oh, I don't like that. How am I supposed to... Lurchy. Lurchy at best. Okay, I was like, game? We okay? We okay? Game? 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 Game! Back! No! We're touching the static! Welcome to ColecoVision. $14011. Alright. I'd say that will conclude a solid playthrough. Let's see how many more of those we've got. We did chapter 1, 2, I think, as well as 3? Or maybe just 1 and 2. But yeah, we'll try this again. That was fun. You feel like you saw God. Okay, we're gonna take another 5-minute break here, and when we come back, we'll see what next community votes on.
The last Metroid is in captivity. The galaxy is at peace.
Alright. Have a good one, Busta. It's good to see you around. And, yeah. Next game that we're going to be doing is going... Excuse me, it's going to be Windforge. I'm actually putting the tags in now, but it's a, side-scrolling adventure that has controls similar to Terraria, including the grappling hook. But it's about airship combat. Looks like that worked. Although my resolution is all messed up. Let's see. Oh no. What a terrible night for a curse. Oh, don't do that. Huh? That is not what that resolution is. Um, oh, oh no. Let's turn that No Thoughts Head FT music back on because this just got real weird on me. Okay. Apply. Why is my base screen resolution now acting like, oh, yeah, it is. It certainly is. Alright, display settings. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Revert. Hmm. Well, this one might not want to play along. Ah, there we go. Captured it. That was a mess. Okay. According to this, we're at a resolution of 929 by 759. Somehow, I don't think that's measuring correctly. You tell me. That being said, it's even like we got wonky sidebar. The true game is starting the game. Ugh, this is bad. Bad, folks. You know what? I welcome this. I welcome these ads. Oh, hey, VC face. Did you just break on me? Okay, we're back. We're back. Good, good. Wow. We're off to a roll here. Okay. I think we're back. I think. Down. Did it die? Did I kill it? Is it dead now? Oh no, Windforge, come back. Where's our music? Oh. Almost everything in the world is breakable. Oh god! Our modern way of life on Cordius is reliant on refined whale oil. Delicious whale fat. Okay, that gives us a good idea of like where the audio balance actually is on this. Okay, of course the cat. Welcome back. So we have started the game. Our way of life is reliant on refined whale oil. We are so hungry for oil that the once abundant population of whales is dwindling. You know, the flying ones. At the current rate we are harvesting whales, this noble species faces certain extinction in just a few short years. To avoid falling back into the age of isolation, we need a new source of energy. It is said that an ancient people named the Etherkin had an exotic source of energy. Energy beyond anything we've ever seen before. Unfortunately, research related to the Etherkin is strictly forbidden by law and taboo. You've been secretly hired to uncover this ancient energy source in an attempt to save our way of life. Yes, our way of flying around on whale-powered airships. Gender? Sure. Do we have green? Do we have green? We have green. Moons! This document certifies a citizen in good standing. Must be shown on demand of an authorized person. Occupation Butcher. This occupation has prerequisites of strength and an able body, and requires no formal education. Continued designs and customers, suppliers, and finances are major wits razor sharp. This occupation does not require much physical strength. Long days of work and adventure produce a natural vitality that's the envy of the landlocked. Life on an airship has affected your legs, making you more clumsy on solid ground. Precision and agility are highly prized in this profession. Sustained exposure to environmental hazards, dust, and gases have affected natural vitality. Well, we're always trading stuff. But I also like the idea of just being a sailor. So let's go with that. Okay. Thus... Karen, the ruin to the right should be the one Thora told us about. Check it out and see if you can find this translation tablet. Okay. Press E to use. Spacebar to jump. Right click to grappling hook. A sailor named name. Oh, did I fail to name myself? Well, I'm the Sandwife. We all know who I am. I have a jackhammer, and I'm using it for these trees.
I mean, I did just jump into this and immediately start mining the islands that I was supposed to be exploring. I'm just like, nope, it's my island. I own all of this. This is mine now. Oh, we found ruins. Just out of curiosity. Ah. So these different colored rocks that I'm mining here actually are relevant, and I do need them all for various things. If I can find some blue stuff, that's the iron that I'm going to need. Got some sulfur. That'll be useful for when we start making cannons. But a lot of stone. A lot of stone and sulfur. Let's keep digging down. See what we can find. One of the funnier things that I end up doing consistently... Background is a bit transparent. My background... Look at the tree line. Oh, you're saying... I see what you're saying. Yes, you can see that. Come on. There we go. Yeah, there's a whole world to explore, and I got distracted digging because I am a dog. I'm a dog, and I know what I want. And I want to dig down. Look at all that copper. I'm gonna make myself some copper armor. Second I can get myself... Ah, I duck using that. Is it in your walls? Don't worry, I'll stop actually messing with this pretty soon. However, this is a part of the gameplay loop, is digging a little bit, mining, finding your resources for crafting and whatnot. But, yeah, this starting island has a lot of resources for no readily apparent reason, and, it's good stuff. Also, I'm trying to remember if this game actually has, like, a weight limit, or if I can just kind of eat this entire island and then just take off running. This is a really good copper vein. This is exactly why I like the iron grinder part that I can sometimes research and then buy the parts for. Because then I can just strip mine away an entire island and not have to do this. Work smarter, not harder, folks. Oh, did we found wood? Or is that dirt? I can't tell. Ah, it's dirt. Okay. I don't care about that. Alright, let's go. I see things. Butterballs. What? Okay. Steel ingot. Found some iron. Yeah, the Chimera or Manticore? That you'll find running around in this are entertaining. Also, I think if I fight enough of them, I can collect their leather. Usually I end up fighting them with my airship, just because they're big and scary. My runes now. Just casually walks into some ruins, pulls out a jackhammer. Oh, hey! Crude wood propeller. Very nice. Let's see what we found here. So if you ever got good with the ninja rope in the original like Worms Armageddon, this game, it rewards you. No, she's been busy. Also, I appear to have stopped collecting, how do I... Yeah. Oh, punching things. I forgot that, like, melee can be used in this, as, like, a way to mine. If you just get a good enough item, you can kind of stop using the jackhammer. Oh, we are stuck now. Let's see. I have the hiccups. It is quite uncomfortable. Oh no. Bennett Foddy, you got nothing on this. You are currently encumbered. Okay, what did I... No? What button did I hit for that? Huh? What? Oh, I don't want to use that. Why do I have a handgun?
Oh,
Also, hold up. Is there... Did I miss something here? Okay. Of course I have a gun. Yeah, true. Does the gun have ammo? Yeah, 308. Oh, that's not going to be an issue then. Cool. So, hold up. Can I just, like, stick this anywhere? Really? Really? Okay. Cloth. Melting furnace. Steam engine. Pleated boots. Dismantle tool. Okay. Item stash. Jungle plant. What if I just made my own ship right now and completely ignored the intro? Theoretically, I could. I don't know quite what I'm doing, but, let's see here. E for my inventory. No, E for use. Okay, now... Bronze. Iron. Didn't get much, we got some. I love the sounds, they're so good. Okay. I can make a stronger gun, not that I want to. Copper wire. It's all kind of just yeah, we're doing this now. Oh. How do I repair things? Yeah, I don't remember how to repair things. I'm just breaking shit. Go away. These trees, they're dead now. They're dead to me. Oh. Okay. What else are we gonna find here? My land now. Oh right, I need to toss trash. Dirt. Throw those. Yeah. Yeah, we can always find more of those. Uses... Oh, the broken glass. slash pottery. Okay, so we found our way back over to the dungeon that we were supposed to be in. We'll just dig our way back through this wall here. Don't mind us. Oh, hello. Hi. Pew pew pew. Steak! Just checking to see something real quick. Alright. Hey there, buddy. Ah, they're called shogs. Lifestone fragment. Don't want that. Is it sci-fi? Is it fantasy? Oh, sci-fi dog. I see. Shog. Woo! Hello. Well, that went well. Found some more iron, too. Aw! Thank you, Lumomancy! I super appreciate the support. I'm glad that you enjoy the strange content that we make here. I am currently being damaged by dirt falling on my head. Is that all of it? Are we done with the digging noise yet? Please? What's in here? Oh, that's what's in here. What about in here? That thing's in here. Okay, I think it's the top of the silent. So we're gonna run through here. We're gonna grab this thing. Hi. Everything turns to dirt. Everything's gonna hurt. Dirt, 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 dirt. Let's go over here real quick and... The ruins of LEDs. I mean, kinda. I think it's more like stained glass kind of deal. I also don't see anything of like major interest for me here. All the tree sap I really care to grab. And our boat is right here. What happened over there? Well, Karen, bad news is this is happening. The good news is I got what you asked me to find. massive explosion from the nearby ruin rips through your ship and destroys your electronics beyond repair. As your ship spirals downward out of control, you brace yourself for impact. I think the ground stopped us. Karen, I think we're okay. Karen? Karen? Am I okay? Are you okay? Oh. We need to repair the ship and get out of here. Take this repair tool and repair what you can. Make sure you repair the balloon. Once you do, we can move on to the next step. Okay, so tab 5. Okay, that's how I do that. Next up. Balloon repaired. Talk to Karen to find out about the next step. Get most of our stuff put back together. Good, we were able to repair the balloon okay, but all of our electronics are broken beyond repair. It's going to be a lot of work to make this ship flyable again. We're going to have to make the rest of the ship components from scratch. A lot of the parts of the ship will need refined metal, so we're going to need to make a smelting furnace. You can craft a smelting furnace by using the workstation. Okay. Yep. Thank you. Appreciate it. Building. Smelting. Create. Items. Smelting. Miscellaneous. Okay. Okay. Now we should have the tools we need to make the ship components. Our balloon will make the ship more buoyant, but we'll need propellers to make it move. We'll need one propeller to move us vertically and another to move us horizontally. The propellers will need power though, so we're also going to need at least one engine. Finally, we need a control panel. So on Old Mine to the left, you need to find ore to craft with. Talk to me once the control panel's done. You said free ore? There's ore. There's ore? There's ore. Building. Item stash. My ore now. Items. Building. Item stash. Oh, we got a hunting rifle. Okay. Cool. That makes a huge difference. Clothing. Equip those again. Weapons. 1. Okay. Ah, lumber. Delicious lumber. You know what lumber is good for? Selling massive bulk amounts that are easily strip mined quickly. This is how we fund our research. Am I horrible? Yes. In industry games, absolutely. Oh, hello there. How are you? I just Mario jumped on that poor little shog. I see a mine. And another shog. Hello. Okay. Let's get this stuff put away, because I already know that this lumber is going to be weighing me down quite a bit. Do. Very nice. Onwards! Another, huh? Aww. That's sad that it's advertising Taco Bell to you. This seems like torture. It'd be interesting to have like some form of control over what kind of advertising gets done. Like, I don't know. What if I wanted to support local eateries instead? I think that'd be pretty cool. Looks like we got some more copper up there. Your adbot knows you too well. I don't even think that's a matter of you. I think that's a Twitch thing. Because, like, I get those ads and I don't eat at Taco Bell. Emily's power went out. No. Alright. Well, say hi to the fam when you do hear from them. Tell them the Sandwife sends her regards. Is that iron? Nope, that's stone. There's a person here. Okay, fine. You get jackhammered then. Man, you started shooting me. I was gonna talk to you. Is the way I said it good or not? Hard to say, hard to say. I mean, I know that like a lot of the crowd is kind of into that thing anyway, so I don't think it really matters which direction that goes. Oh, did I do a thing? Great, now you're both thinking about it. Gotta say, I'm not a fan of Karen's method of group adventures here, where she hangs out in her nice flying cabin while I go break rock. that effort wasted. We're moving on. Let's see what else there is. Maybe I'll find something fun in a box. Just got allergies. Yeah, I would you too. Wow, I'm terrible with this rifle. Start of this game and all we've done so far is dig, dig, dig. Although I gotta say, it has been entertaining. Hey, it's another person. Are you here to shoot at me too? Yeah? Yeah? You're gonna shoot at a person holding a jackhammer, who's obviously a lot faster than you, while wielding a jackhammer. You sure about that, bud? Alright. No, come over here. Come over here. You wanna shoot me? Drink one of my healing potions that has absolutely no noise. For all the things in this game that do have a noise, that one doesn't. Also, nice. Good amount of ore here. I see rocks falling through nothing. This is less than promising. Oh. Quite the view. Now we're just jamming to background music. What is that? Bronze steam engine. Seems useful. Oh hey! Another hole in the ground. Bronze ingot. Oh. The only problem with turning off the audio this way is I no longer... You know, I don't know that actually. I have no idea why the game is relatively chill as far as ambience, except for the drill. Because even the manticores are ah woo, and then that's it. The entire vibe changed. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. This is now a chill drill stream. We are chill drilling. Drill. Ambient chillcore. You should write your own space cowboy soundtrack, so that I don't have to keep resorting to No Thoughts Head Empty. You know? Huh. I have to figure out how to tell Twitch, I have to figure out how to tell Twitch that it's okay for me to play your music specifically on stream. Not sure how I'll go about that. Oh, I'm glad she's back. You might not have protections on it, but YouTube might. I'm not sure how they'll treat that. And so, like, I got to be careful. And at the same time, like, I don't know, I used No Thoughts Head Empty, which is technically a lot of music from a lot of places, so yeah, that'd be cool. If you can in any way, like, look into that, because, like, I don't think you'll have to do anything, but I like to be cautious if I can. True, true. I gotta say, we did find a lot of ore down here. Like, this is gonna save us a lot of time later of having to find places that have it. Okay. Okay. Go back to options, turn the sounds back on. Hello. Let's see. I want to say... bronze, glass, iron. What have you been up to? Okay. And, well, go over here. You are currently encumbered. Well, ain't that something? Huh. Double barrel shotgun. Shotgun. Hunting rifle. Magnum. Revolver. Huh. Love a shotty. That makes sense. Okay. And then I want to say I picked up, yeah, a gray explorer jacket. I like my blue one. Okay. Oh right, I'm encumbered. Let's put all that lumber away. Sure. Looks like we have everything we need to rebuild our ship now. Here's the propeller and engines I crafted. No. Rebuild your ship. Okay. Building. No. Iron propeller. One thing. One thing. The ship is working now. Might be a good idea to add more propellers to make the ship... Okay, that's fine. Let me just at least get this thing up. We're floating for the moment. So we can work on the rest of it. Need some other stuff added. Like this. And this. Specs to examine. Okay. Does not look like it's being interrupted in any way. Okay. We did it, everyone! We made an airship. It's the starting airship. But we made it. And we can kind of go wherever we want to now. Now I know it wants me to go to the... Let's see here. This place. Yeah. So we're gonna save. You save. We made it. And we're gonna take off towards the town they're wanting us to go to. Oh god, I forgot about how momentum works in this game. Alright. Yourself. Wow, this thing go fast. I'm flying up at the top of the current world area. Acid basilisk. I'm tempted to go fight that. So that I don't run into any islands while we're cruising at this speed. One more. Whoa, hey. Now that's some exploration worth doing. Sorry, Karen. You can hang out and have allergies here. Yeah. Almost everything is breakable. Yes, game. Let's see. Oil storage recipe. Very nice. We can find. Drill a hole through ceiling. What are you? Diesel engine recipe book. Very nice. Okay. That takes care of all that. These recipes are worth a lot, actually. They're going to be really handy later. There's somebody in here. Aha! Intruder! In the house that's mine now? This is my house now! I knew it! Yes, I am the Sky Pirate! Become the Sky Pirate you always needed. Get some more money. Get off my property, running around with a rifle. Ooh, we got a Magnum. Weapons. The Magnum replaces that revolver. Got leather hand wrappings now. A little bit extra defense. Yes, that is a dismantled. Okay, so I cannot use it on random objects like this. Good to know. Oh. Healing balm, some money. Fist nut, rifle ammo. Okay. The momentum's a little funky and floaty in this. That was a noise. Found some more iron. I really don't care to do any more mining right now. Where I have to get to from point A to point B, sure. But I'm here for adventure now. See, we're finding like whole ship components here. Oh no! My rope just did some interesting things there. No! I died! You sink into a world of darkness. Karen! Hey Karen. Remember me? Hey Karen. Hey Karen. Hey. Hey Karen. Hey. Hey Karen. Oh no! Alright. One of the things that sucks about all that is everything I just yes, that's nice, dear. Yes, that's nice, dear. Everything I just found, yeah, all that got re-rolled just now. So that Magnum, it's gone. Cluster bomb turret. I no longer care that Magnum is missing. Grinder. That's it. That's the one. That's the one. That's the one I wanted. You know, that came out wrong considering the name of that item. But that is the steel milling one that allows me to just kind of destroy terrain at will. So look forward to the strip mining stream coming up to a stream near you. Don't forget the intruder. Now. If you can't find your own intruder, store-bought is fine. Iron steam engine, very nice. Oh, I have to actually read the recipe. Got it. Miscellaneous. Balloon, furnace, engine, balloon. Well, it's just not showing up there, but here's to hoping that it actually did give me that. Well, so let's not fall to our death again, because that was bad. Intruder! Wow, that really hurt. Da-da-da. Save the day now while the murder stuff. I hope. Oh, I gotta be careful about that. Cargo pants, handgun ammo. impervious. Got it. What a strange creature. Herping more. Heavy machine gun. Did that say rubber pants? Did I read that right? Located the intruder. Ow. Oh, this thing's gonna kill me. Okay. Well. Oh, hey. Why am I the one murdering? Like, you have perfect defense where you're standing, and yet. I now have rubber pants. Very handy. Extra sexy. Let's do this. So tempted to explore what else is out there. Ah, I said I wouldn't do any more mining. Also, I need to go find my grappling hook again. Grappling. Over there. Yeah? Hello. What if you could jump like a grasshopper? Would you also... Okay, hi. Did Karen invite you? The Shog is kinda cute. It's like if a Rottweiler had wings. Wait, where's my airship? Okay. We've done it. We've made it back to the ship. Time to continue our journey. Bonk. Ah. We did it! Wait, where's Karen? You have to clip it then. I'm currently in the middle of this. Looks like Englishman would suit you better. What will we do when the whales go extinct? Oh, I don't know. Find something better to do? Oh, I can use the sink to refill water. Got it. Don't mind me, I'm just renovating a little bit. I see scrap? It's your house, right? Well, it's built badly. More propellers. I very nearly ran right off the edge of that again. Yeah, it's gonna be quicker to just dig through here. Come on. I'm gonna wait for a better drill. I.e. a combat knife. An auto combat vibroblade knife or whatever the version I built last time. Is Karen okay? I don't know where Karen went. Karen okay? No, the Sandwife is also not okay. Is currently tearing through everybody's house in the village with a jackhammer. There's a house on top, or there's a bed on top of this house. Okay, we're running through here. What's down here? More stuff. We're running through here. I'm here now. Is this where I made grinder? This is where I made grinder. I need large motor to make it. Okay. What I'm doing right now is robbing everybody of all their goodies because I will be selling a lot of them back. Let's see here. Combat knife. Oh, remember that thing I was talking about? Interesting. Rune block, not worth much of anything. Dirt blocks are worth something here, that's funny. I left the wood blocks because I'm a fool. Read these before they are forgotten. Continuing. More rifle ammo. What else we got? Impact machine gun, sulfuric acid. Butterball. Okay, that's nice, dear. Moving on. Breathable air tank. How much is that? 233. Yeah, take it. These aren't easy to come by. Okay. Wait, that's another thing. Those are more things. Need you a machine gun? We got that impact machine gun recipe. Conveyor platform. Oh, I'm going to make a machine that ruins things. What's over this way? I can't remember. One person's house. Oh, okay, yeah. Alright, yeah. Moving on then. Hello, everyone. I want nothing to do with you and the fact that you all look completely identical to each other. Cloth awning, hydrogen, bratwurst. Cooked meat, oil storage. Support, wood side window. Yeah, this whole city kind of feels that way. What's this? Chemistry station. Huh. Is it the chemistry station that I make wood? Yep, okay. What do they got here? Gangster boots. Power greaves. Some neat stuff. Chemistry station. Yeah, sure. Iron spikes. Metalworking station. I don't really care about the cloth awning per se. Oh, I picked up a double-barreled shotgun. Very nice. Okay. Let's read through all these real quick. Seems to be all the books. Got our weapons here real quick. Swap out the hunting rifle for the double barrel shotgun. Okay. I like talking to strangers. You never know what they're going to say. You know... Huh? Wait a sec. I didn't know that was a thing I could do. You talking to me? You talking to me? You talking to me? Okay, that's enough of that. Oh, these were breakable too the whole time. There's some, like, king here. I don't know what his deal is. Yeah, they're just hanging out. Well, I make a mess of everything. Just run around the throne room with a grappling hook, you know, like you do. Anything here? No, just toilets. I mean, I know that it's a wonder to so many people in the sci-fi world, but kidding me. The design of this place: speaker, concentrated poison, oil storage, cooked meat, money, helium, money. Must have been in the way. It must have been the wind. lovely sound of home renovation. Oh, I should probably save. I'm getting dirt blocks and money out of these. Weird. Oh, I super don't want to dig all the way through all this. Right now. Also, I'm noticing my frame rate is just going all screwy doing this. So I'm gonna finish up looting the rest of the city because I do happen to know where mostly everything is here. Now that the SOC are catching on, you need to stay here in the lab and handle security. If you need an extra edge in combat, you should talk to a friend of mine, Lars von Alderstein. He's an expert in weapon mods. With weapon mods, he should be able to teach you a few tricks to help out. He's a shop in Alderstein. Tell him I sent you. He owes me a favor. Wait, look. Flak boots. Lesson about being able to... My effing math is correct, so why isn't this effing thing working? I don't know, bud. Stash recipe, breathable air tank. Hi, I'm Wilhelm. I'm here to help out with Walter's energy research. I also have a number of special projects on the go that could indirectly help us. Our research may not be necessarily legal, but it's definitely cutting edge. I'm actually making great progress on Ethican elixir research. I just need some help making one and testing it. Are you interested in helping? Yes. Here's a copy of the recipe. Nice. Miscellaneous. Drink, drink. Drink, drink. Drinking all those books. Nom. You see, let me know when you get an Ethican elixir. Okay. Ethican elixir. Agility. Strength. Great. Hydrogen-based blowtorch. Yes. Learned a new recipe. Hydrogen. Quite entertaining. Ah! Okay, not messing with that thing. Okay, that takes us to here. We go back over this way. Let me go! Is there anything else there? No, just that secret exit. And a person I'm supposed to talk to here? You have the translation tablet! This text! It's amazing! With this we can start making some real progress. Here's your payment. Also, there's a huge uproar among the SOC right now. Apparently they're offering huge rewards to whoever can bring them the people that desecrated their temple. We really need to be careful they don't find out about us. Tell me, what actually happened at the temple when you found this? Really? I never believed something like this was even possible. Ethican technology must be even more amazing than we can possibly imagine. If we can unlock the secrets of it, we could change the world. But it'll take some time for me to decipher this tablet. In the meantime, we should prepare for the worst. We have a secret facility where we're conducting our research. It's here in Ingelstrom. Look for a wooden hatch in the ground at the bottom right of town. Look for a research head, Walter. She'll be able to provide you some gear to help defend yourself. Okay. Back to where I just was. Come on, Walter. If your bloody numbers are correct, then why isn't it bloody working? It's because you didn't give me equipment. That's why. You should have given me equipment, and then your research would have been right. You would have figured it out. What's up with that, bud? I didn't see you there. I'm Walter, the lead researcher around here. What can I do for you? Ah, yes. Things are going to get a lot more complicated now that the effing SOC is starting to take notice. I can help you out. Take these machine gun turrets and place them on your ship. They should help you defend yourself while you're flying. I can also give you a radio. If you get stuck somewhere, you can use it to call for help. Anyways, feel free to explore the facilities here. Just freaking careful in the testing area below. Oh yeah, you also might want to talk to Wilhelm in the lab upstairs. He has a few special research projects in his queue that you might find interesting. Once you're done, you should check back in with Thora and see if she's done with the translation tablet. Very nice, very nice. Cool, cool, cool. Yes, cool, very good. Yes, long hair, long. I'm good, I'm Goku. You're back. I hope Walter didn't give you a hard time. I managed to decipher the tablet you gave me. Now I should be able to read ancient Aetherkin. We need to find more Aetherkin tablets so we can learn more. Apparently there are numerous Aetherkin temples of knowledge scattered throughout the world. The temple you explored recently was one of them. I know the locations of a few more. I'll mark them on your map. I don't know what we'll find at each one, but I'll pay you generously for each tablet you can give me. Also be careful. My sources tell me the SOC... Yeah. I don't know. A loot quest. Quite literally, a loot quest. Like, this is a... Temple of Language. Shipwreck. Wallerstein. Huh. So she only gives me one at a time, so I can't ruin too many interesting things. Dirt block. Oh, it'd help if I didn't click inside Shatterino when I try to do this. Here we go. We run. Ninja Simulator. Have a good one, hon. Thank you for dropping in. I'm also actually going to be closing this up pretty quickly because we just finished looting the town. Alright. We made it. Overwrite this save. And one of the other things that I note that I absolutely do not like about this game is the music really grates on my nerves after a while. It's very dynamic for the first 5 minutes. And maybe the next 2 or 3 loops. Have a good night, hon. With that, we will close this here. And we'll switch over to the thank you for watching stream. Throw on the No Thoughts Head Empty. And let's take a look at who we wanna go ahead and raid over to tonight. Oh. Let's take a look here. Thank you. This one was really fun. I think I'm just gonna send you folks over to Valdudes. It's cool. And I like the streams. And yeah, I will see you all again tomorrow evening. We'll throw up a new vote for what we want to play, and there's gonna be new games again. So we've got quite a few to try and work our way through. And for those that are interested in seeing continuations of any of the stories on the games that we're working on, I will also be putting in a few of those, probably as like the bottom 6 selections until we start getting through, at least testing out some of these. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you everybody for joining in tonight. I'm going to go ahead and get the raid set up. Alright. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Let's go ahead and set this up as a green glow dog raid. Alright. Oh, I just realized the TSW Heart Day isn't actually going to show up anywhere else, is it? Well, let's just do... Talkie Dog. Alright, everyone. I will see you tomorrow at 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. If anything changes, we'll let you know. Have a good one.